supersede any laws in Nigeria. Any law which is inconsistent with the constitution shall prevail. What I am telling you is that it is a business of 109 and 360. Nothing like minority or majority. All of us, it is our own business. Therefore, whether you are minority or you are majority, you can vote and you will stand for election in the two chambers. Like what happened in the 8th National Assembly, Ike from the minority became deputy speaker as Senate president of the House of the Senate. Then for the second question, we are all in the game. For the first time in the history of our democracy, this is the current democracy we are enjoying. This is the first time where we saw a letter from the ruling party microzoning the position and even mentioned the name of the proposed presiding officers. It is dangerous to our system. And they are quoting the name of Mr. President, which is dangerous. This is what we fought with some of the principal officers of the villa of today. This is what we fought. And we will continue doing what we started with them. That letter alone will tell you how desperate some of us are. Yes, you can do zoning for the convenient or smooth operation of the administration, but don't mention name. If you mention name, it means that you are particular on a particular candidate. Allow that zone to determine who will be the speaker, who will be the deputy speaker, who will be Senate president or deputy Senate president. For example, from Northwest, you cannot in any way, we will resist it. You will jump from somewhere without proper engagement. Come to our zone and pick somebody and tell us to follow him. This is what we fought with you. Therefore, we will continue doing it. Nobody rejected the offer. Yes, okay. I saw an invitation. They send an invitation to us and they withdraw the invitation with the promise that they will fix another day. This is all what I know about the invitation to see Mr. President. But you need to know that Mr. President, it is 3 arms of system. Check and balance. Yes. Mr. President is the head of executive. We are ready. We are ready to work with him for the betterment of Nigeria. If he asks us to see him or if he invited us for a discussion, we are more than ready to see Mr. President at his own way, not at our own way. Check my fast. I supported Dogara. I am an advisor of Mr. President then, or I am almost appointed as an advisor to Mr. President, and I supported Dogara. It is not about personality, it is about the constitution and Nigerians. If we allow this thing to continue, you will have undemocratic president one day who will just riot and stop the election. Check what happened in 7th Assembly, where they attempted to block us from exercising our constitutional right. I'm a leader then. I'm the one who jumps the fence, tear gas me, but we insist that we must have access to the chamber of the House of Representatives to do our constitutional responsibility. And we have achieved in doing so. That single action saved Nigerian democracy. Because had it been we allowed them on that very material day, they will extend the emergency rule for 6 months again. Technically, if they extend the emergency, there will be no election. Take your memory back 2015. If they said that there was no election, is it a democracy to send a letter to us? We are elected. I was elected by 320, almost 20,000 people, representing 16 local government, 171 political wards, over 3,000 polling units. Do you think it is a democracy for somebody to just send me a letter asking me to vote for his candidate? my constituents have an interest. They send me with interest. It is a business of interest. We have our legislative agenda, which of course is different with his own. It is a constitutional representation. Therefore, if somebody imposes his own against your own wish, against the wish of the people, it leads to undemocratic. Therefore, what do you want? See again, you are in the possession of that letter. This is the first time we witnessed the letter. I was in the House from 2003. In 2007, I participated actively in producing the leadership of the House of Representatives. When House removed it, I was actively part of it because I am in the body of the principal officers. In 2011, I was among the people who stopped our former president and PDP of installing his leadership in 2011. And I am part of the person who supported the emergence of Speaker Dogara in the House because I am in the leadership then, and it is transition. This is the first time we witness this kind of imposition. First, let me ask you a question because we are defending the position. Therefore, I will ask you a question. Where are you in 2003 when Speaker Masari and the Senate President emerged? Do you know the process? Do you know how they selected Aminu Bello Masari? Where are you 2003? 20 years. 20 years I was in the House. NNPP. We are almost 90. Together with minorities party, all of us, we are not up to 150. Therefore, the ruling party then has a power because it is simple majority in the election. We are not up to 150 in 2003 when we put us on. AC are less than 40. You understand? Therefore, when they are presenting the candidate, they select some of us from the minority, and from the majority. Our leader, our senior colleague, Amelon, was there. When they zone the position to northwest, then the northwest micro-zone the position to Katsina. Then the Katsina, almost all the members of Katsina, the stakeholders in Katsina State, the members in Katsina State, both minority and majority, come up with Aminu Bello Masari. Then Katsina presented Aminu Bello Masari to the northwest. Then northwest presented Aminu Bello Masari to House. This is what happened in 2007 in the Senate. But the current SDF say no. But in the House, it is when they realize that they have the number. The PDP has the number because we are less than 100 in 2007. Without recourse to the minority, they produced Ete and Babangida. And the House rejected their selection because they are out of the business. Later on, the House elected Bonkole against Jolai from Ocean. I want you to take yourself back. In 2011, the PDP zoned the speakership to Southwest. When they zone it to Southwest, it is a business of Southwest. From the first flag, it is Morena Ajibola. But the zone decided to pick Monica Adiola Akande. But in our own, we say no, it is the business of 360. We insist that there must be election. We follow the constitution against all odds. Aminu Waziri and Emeka Ihediwa emerged. Do you understand? Therefore, quickly let me give you a clear answer to what you are asking me. This 10th National Assembly is entirely different with the previous assembly. The margin between the ruling party and minority parties in the Senate is 52% versus 48%. The minorities are 50, while the majority are 59. When you go to the House, the minorities are parties are 183, while the majority party is 170 something. Therefore, what I am telling you is that if you have a clear majority, you can do your own zoning, select your candidate without consultation. But in a situation like this, where the majority, and there are so many interests in Nigeria now, some are there to ask for physical federation, some are there to promote through federal system, some are there to ask for state fund. There are so many agitation, and the best way to attend it is to allow the members of the National Assembly to decide who will be their speaker or the Senate president. Then at the end, Mr. President, as politician, as Democrat, he will invite the leadership and work with them. This, let him take from President Yar'Adua. This is what President Yar'Adua did, and he succeeded. We stayed with Yar'Adua for 3 years. I was in the leadership of the House of Representatives. We are constantly meeting him on some issue, but there was no time President Yar'Adua intervened. The issue of ET in the House of Representatives is one of the serious issues. But Mr. President said, no, let the House of Representatives decide. Don't forget, in the Senate, there are people who are over 70, who are former governors, who are the colleague of Mr. President. We are 20 years experience in this business. Do you think you will dictate to us on what to do? I came with a specific agenda of Kano South people vis-a-vis Kano State. Do you want me to just discard the interest of my people and follow somebody in Abuja? What is the final question?
You have the number. What number?
Let 13th of June. Let us meet on 2013 in the chamber. We will tell Nigeria who we are. Inshallah, by 13th June, for now, the new Senate President of the 10th National Assembly is Abdul Aziz Abubakar Yari from Zamfara. That is the role of and responsibility of the three arms of government in achieving overall national interest, the separation of power, like in the current arrangement. And we are all aware that the election of presiding officers of the National Assembly, Senate President, Deputy Senate President, Speaker, and Deputy Speaker is fast approaching, and lawmakers elect seeking possess important officers have already embarked on a rigorous campaign and consultation in their quest to occupy the higher ranking position in the Nigerian Parliament. It is in view of the foregoing that I consider it necessary to address members of the press on certain contentious issues currently going on the election of the next set of leadership of the 10th National Assembly. To start with, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, is explicit about how the President and Deputy President of the Senate shall be elected. For instance, Chapter 2 of the 9th Standing Order of the Constitution and the Standing Order of the House of Representatives and, of course, the Senate is explicit about the election or selection of the presiding officers of the two chambers. For instance, in the current Senate rules, Chapter 2 of the 9th Standing Order of the Senate 2022 as amended stipulated the procedure for selection of presiding officers of the Senate. It is very clear from Chapter 2 up to the end of the chapter. Similarly, in the current Constitution, Section 50, subsection 1, of the 1999 Constitution as amended stated that there should be a president and deputy president of the Senate who shall be elected by the members of the House from among themselves. Subsequently, Section 50, subsection 1 stipulated that a speaker and deputy speaker of the House of Representatives who shall be elected by the members of that house from among themselves, irrespective of political party, irrespective of region, irrespective of religion, irrespective of any arrangement. All of us, it is the business of 109 and 360. It is different with the election or selection or appointment of the remaining principal officers, 8 principal officers, where 4 are from the majority party, while the remaining 4 are from the majority parties, not party. Parties, not party. That one is a sole responsibility, or it is the responsibility of the members and their respective political party. It is therefore clear that the election of these presiding officers is purely on an internal affairs that contain only members of the National Assembly, and therefore they should be allowed to decide who among them will occupy the position in order to avoid repetition of the first mistake. We may all recall the incidences of 7th and the 8th National Assembly. Even the 6th National Assembly in the House of Representatives, Speaker Patricia Ete passed the House. 7th Assembly, Amin Waziri Tambuwal Saga, and in the 8th National Assembly, where Saraki Ike, Dogara, and Lasun Yusuf emerged against the wish of their political parties, because it is a business of 108 and business of 109 and 360. In my view, as former legislator from 2003 to 2015, and the former advisor or senior special assistant to Mr. President of National Assembly, more particular House of Representatives, external interference in the election of the next presiding officers of the National Assembly will not only violate the provision of the Nigerian Constitution and standing order of both the Senate and the House of Representatives, but will also cause a serious misunderstanding between the legislative arm and the executive arms of government, like what happened during tenure of our Speaker Patricia Ete, and the subsequent happening from 1999 to 2003 in the Senate, where the executive and the respective political party intend or impose the leadership, while at the end the membership of the 2 chambers refused to work with the imposition of the executive. Available information reveal that some desperate politicians are planning to undermine, to use undemocratic means to impose lawmakers of their choice to become presiding officers against the wish of the majority. This move is undemocratic, unacceptable, and dangerous to our democracy, as well as the nation as whole, which I am urging you as a critical stakeholders in the political development of Nigeria to join hands with us in fighting imposition, fighting impunity, fighting any undemocratic tendency which undermine the Constitution and the psyche of Nigerians. At this juncture, I want to commend Mr. President and the Commander-in-Chief of the Army Forces of Nigerian Republic, of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu, GCFR, for appointing some of us, Senator George Okume, and as Secretary to the Government of the Federation, who is a former senator, and of course, current Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Femi Baja, as Chief of Staff, and Senator Ibrahim Hassan Hadeja as the Deputy Chief of Staff. All the principal appointments of Mr. President are from the National Assembly, and we are very lucky to have one of our own, the chairman of our movement in 2007, whom under his leadership or guidance, we fought impunity and the undemocratic element in our mix. Femi. It is with him we fought, and it is with him we achieved, or democracy achieved, in 2011. Even Senator George Okume, as Secretary to the Government of the Federation today, in one time, 2007, he insists that constitutionally he must run in variance against the wish of his party, because the party and some stakeholders arrive and choose Senator David Mark as their proposed Senate President. But the current Secretary of the Federation refused to concede to the level where he contested against David Mark. We commend them. We cherish their doggedness. We cherish their participation in democratic development. And it gives relief to some of us, and it encourages some of us to continue with what we started together with them. This is because these gentlemen are very cognizant of the modus operandi of the National Assembly. As such, their appointment will no doubt strengthen the working relationship of the two arms of government. This is for the, therefore, another area which I want you to focus on is, this is the first time in our political history or in our democratic journey when we have a president, a former senator, vice president, former senator, secretary to the Government of the Federation, former senator, chief of staff, former member of the House of Representatives, and deputy chief of staff, former senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It shows that we have already consolidated the gain of democracy. And what we are expecting from them is to do their own best in making sure that the laid-down procedure are observed in election and selection on the leadership of the National Assembly. Consequently, I want to use this opportunity to draw attention of Mr. President to this unfortunate and undemocratic move by some element to tamper with the laid down procedure. There is name dropping. Therefore, we are appealing to Mr. President, as one of the fathers of Democrat, as former member of this Senate, to focus on who and who are all out to undermine the Constitution, to undermine the psyche of Nigeria in bypassing the laid down procedure of selecting or electing the presiding officers of the 10th Senate of the National Assembly. Similarly, I want to also call on all stakeholders, of course, like you,